current date is April 6, 2025, and the political air is thick with tension. Karoline Leavitt, the 27-year-old White House press secretary under Donald Trump, has become a lightning rod for controversy. Known for her sharp tongue and unapologetic loyalty to the former president, she's been thrust into the spotlight after the infamous Signal leak, a scandal where a private group chat about Trump's alleged plans to strike the Houthis accidentally included Atlantic reporter Jeffrey Goldberg. The media frenzy was immediate, and late-night TV smelled blood. Stephen Colbert, the quick-witted host of The Late Show, saw an opportunity. With his signature blend of charm, sarcasm, and biting commentary, he'd been skewering Levitt for weeks. Trump's Gen Z mouthpiece, he called her, turning the Signal fiasco into a recurring punchline. But Colbert wanted more than monologue fodder. He wanted her live, unfiltered, on his stage. On April 4, 2025, he issued a public challenge during his opening segment. Smirking into the camera, Karoline Leavitt, "I'm inviting you to The Late Show. Unedited. No cuts. Just you, me, and the truth. Let's see if you can handle it." The studio audience erupted in cheers, and the clip went viral on X within hours. Levitt, scrolling through the flood of notifications, paused at Colbert's taunt. Her heart raced, not from fear but from the thrill of a fight. This is my chance, she thought. She'd been mocked as a puppet, a kid out of her depth. But she knew she could turn this around. Without hesitation, she grabbed her phone, opened X, and typed, "Colbert, I'm in. Unedited. No running. You want the truth? I'll bring it." She hit send, a faint smile tugging at her lips. As the tweet posted, the internet exploded. Colbert versus Levitt trended instantly. Back at the Late Show studios in New York, Colbert prepped with his team. "Find me everything on Levitt," he ordered, pacing in front of a whiteboard scribbled with notes. Signal leak, Trump loyalist, Gen Z. Every slip-up, every tweet, especially that Signal mess. I want to know her playbook before she steps on my stage. His producer raised an eyebrow. "Think she'll hold her own?" Colbert chuckled, adjusting his glasses. "She's 27, works for Trump, and thinks she can out-talk me on my turf? I'll dismantle her with a smile." The night arrived. The Ed Sullivan Theater glowed under bright lights, the audience buzzing with anticipation. Colbert strode out, his suit crisp, his grin sharp. "Welcome to The Late Show," he began, his voice warm but laced with mischief. "Tonight, we've got a special guest, Karoline Leavitt, White House press secretary, who says she's not afraid of me. Let's find out." The crowd roared as Leavitt emerged from the wings, poised in a sleek black blazer, blonde hair pulled back. She nodded to the audience, then sat across from Colbert, locking eyes with him. Colbert didn't ease in. "Karoline, welcome," he said, leaning forward with mock sincerity. "I'm thrilled you're here, unedited, just like you wanted. But I've got to ask, how does it feel to sit here after I've turned your Signal disaster into a national laughingstock?" The audience laughed, and Levitt offered a tight smile, unfazed. "I'm here to set the record straight, Stephen," she replied, her tone steady. "You can joke, but I'm not scared of your spin." Colbert raised an eyebrow, feigning surprise. "Oh, the truth. Fantastic, Karoline, because I've got a lot of truth to unpack. Let's start with Signal, that secret chat where you leaked Trump's Houthi attack plans to Jeffrey Goldberg. How does a reporter end up in the White House's military group chat?" The crowd chuckled, and Colbert waved a hand. "You call it fake news. I call it a sitcom-level blunder." Levitt took a breath, her gaze unwavering. "Stephen, I've said it before, it was a mix-up. Exaggerated by people like you. I didn't create that chat or add anyone. I'm here to represent the president, not play espionage games." Colbert smirked, cutting in. "A mix-up? Karoline, you're the press secretary. Your job is to control the story, not hand Jeffrey Goldberg a scoop on a silver platter." The audience howled, and he leaned back, winking at them. "I bet she thought Jeffrey's a fan, he'll write Trump a love letter." Levitt's jaw tightened, but she kept her cool. "You can laugh, but I'm not here to dissect every text for you," she said. "I serve the American people, not your comedy routine." Colbert tilted his head, his grin widening. "Serve the people, then why are you Trump's Gen Z puppet? You're 27, Karoline. Do you even know what you're doing, or are you just reciting what Trump texts you? The crowd cheered, and he pressed on. I'm not saying you're not bright, you landed this gig, but are you just a shiny young face for Trump to parade? The jab stung, but Levitt didn't flinch. I'm nobody's puppet, Stephen, she shot back, her voice firm. I'm here because I believe in what we're doing. Colbert pounced, laughing. Believe in what? Covering up signal? Or do you just pray your way through tough questions? He clasped his hands in a mock prayer, sending the audience into hysterics. I'm not against faith, Karoline, but if God said don't leak to Jeffrey, you must have heard share it with the world. He stood, circling the desk with theatrical flair. Imagine this, he said, voice booming. Karoline at her desk, phone buzzing, Trump texts, hit the Houthis now, she replies. I'll handle it. Then, oops, Jeffrey's in the chat and the world knows. He held up a fake message he'd printed. Karoline to Trump, press is handled, Houthis are next. The crowd roared, no proof she sent it, but it's so believable, right? She's learning on the job and failing spectacularly. Levitt tried to interject. That's fiction, Stephen. But he steamrolled her. Fiction? I don't need to make it up. You leaked signal. You work for Trump, and you think I'll go soft because you're young. Nope. He turned to the audience. She wanted unedited, here's the truth, no mercy. The crowd clapped wildly, and Colbert sat back, daring her to respond. Levitt sat still, hands resting on her chair, the audience's laughter ringing in her ears. She knew he was trying to bury her, make her a punchline for millions. But she wasn't here to crumble. Taking a deep breath, a faint smile crossed her lips. Stephen, she began, her voice calm but cutting, you want the truth? You say you're exposing me, but let's expose you. The room hushed. Colbert's smirk faltered. Expose me? Oh, I'm all ears, Karoline, he said, leaning in. She gestured off stage and the screen lit up with an old Late Show clip. Colbert, years earlier, defending government surveillance under a previous administration. Privacy's overrated when it keeps us safe, he'd quipped then. The audience murmured, and Colbert's brow furrowed. That's you, Stephen, Levitt said, pointing at the screen as the clip ended. You cheered limits on freedom when it fit your side. Now you attack Trump and me for the same stuff. Who's the hypocrite here? Scattered applause broke out, and Colbert forced a laugh. That's ancient history, Karoline. I've grown. You can't pin that on me now. But Levitt didn't relent. Your past shows you're not the impartial truth-teller you pretend to be. You flip-flop when it suits you. I don't hide who I am. She stood, facing the audience. He wants to mock me, my age, my faith, my job. But here's a question, Stephen. Do you ever call out the corporate giants funding this show, or am I just an easy target because I'm... The crowd froze, then erupted in applause. Louder from the back. Colbert blinked, caught off guard. What, you pulling a Trump move? Attacking the host? He joked, trying to recover. That's his playbook. Levitt stepped closer, unflinching. No, Stephen, this is the truth you dodge. You mock my faith, but at least I'm not a propagandist pretending to be a comedian. I'm not your clown. The studio shook with cheers. Not all for Colbert this time. He raised his hands, grinning to mask his unease. Okay, Karoline, you landed a hit, but signal, you can't dodge that forever. She sat back, smiling faintly. Ask something real, Stephen. Not just cheap shots. He tapped the desk, his confidence shaken. You're tough, I'll give you that, but you still haven't explained signal. I've said it a mistake, not my doing, she replied. It doesn't define me, you define yourself by tearing others down, then squirm when called out. That's our difference. The applause grew, and Colbert laughed, raising his hands in mock surrender. She's no puppet tonight, folks. The crowd laughed, but the tide had shifted. The interview wasn't over when the clip of Karoline Leavitt's stunning counterpunch hit X, but the internet didn't need to wait for the credits to roll. Within minutes of airing on April 6, 2025, a 45-second snippet, Levitt calmly playing Stephen Colbert's old video defending government surveillance, then turning it against him with a razor-sharp challenge to his hypocrisy, spread like wildfire across social media. Uploaded by an eagle-eyed Late Show staffer with a knack for viral moments, It racked up 500,000 views before the broadcast even ended. Hashtags none Levitt, vs Colbert and Sean Levitt knockout. Colbert shot to the top of X's trending list, overtaking everything from celebrity gossip to the latest sports scores. The digital arena was ablaze, and Levitt had just lit the match. Conservatives wasted no time claiming victory. Karoline Leavitt just silenced Colbert, blared a tweet from a MAGA Warrior 776. A prominent Trump-aligned account with a blue checkmark, amassing over 10,000 likes in under an hour. The post included the clip, captioned with a flexing bicep emoji, and a triumphant Gen Z strikes back. Another user, a Patriot Pulse, went further. She's the conservative queen who took down the liberal king. Colbert didn't know what hit him. Attached was a meme, Levitt's steely gaze superimposed over a roaring lion, with Colbert's flustered face fading into the background. The image spread faster than a brush fire, retweeted thousands of times by morning. Trump fans, reveling in the upset, dubbed her Killer Karoline, a nickname that stuck like glue. One viral post from a Trump Train 2025 showed her mid-interview, hands steady on her chair, with the caption, "When you walk into the lion's den and make the lion run." It paired with a gif of a boxer landing a knockout punch, racking up 15,000 likes by dawn. The reaction wasn't limited to the MAGA faithful. Neutral viewers, those who'd tuned in expecting Colbert's usual domination, were floored by Levitt's pivot. "I don't like Trump, but Levitt flipped the script. Brilliant," posted a Jane Doe Observer, a self-described independent with a modest 2,000 followers. Her tweet sparked a thread of begrudging praise. She used his own words against him. "That's next level," replied one user. Another added, "Colbert thought he'd steamroll her, but she's got guts." Even a few left-leaning ex-users tipped their hats. "I'm no fan of her politics, but that was a masterclass in turning the tables," wrote a Blue Wave 2024. A progressive account typically critical of Trump's orbit. The clip of Levitt saying, "Who's the hypocrite here?" became a soundbite, remixed into TikTok videos with dramatic zooms and bass drops, amassing millions of views across platforms. Liberals, however, weren't ready to concede the battlefield. Colbert's diehard fans scrambled to spin the narrative. "She's just Trump's trained attack dog," sneered Dade. Liberal Laps, a popular satire account, dismissing her comeback as rehearsed. "That old clip doesn't change the signal mess. She's still a liability." Others doubled down. "Colbert got caught off guard, but he's still the champ," tweeted Bay Team Colbert, NYC. Attaching a gif of Colbert smirking from a past show, yet cracks appeared in the defense. Some admitted, reluctantly, "He didn't see that coming. She's sharper than I thought," posted Dade Progressive Pete, a longtime Late Show stan. The admission stung, and it fueled a counter-narrative. Levitt hadn't just survived. She'd landed a blow that left Colbert reeling. Media outlets pounced, each framing the clash through their lens. Breitbart ran a glowing headline within hours. Levitt schools Colbert in epic takedown, painting her as a conservative David felling a liberal Goliath. The article detailed her every move, her steady voice, the perfectly timed video drop, the audacity to call out Colbert's funders, hailing her as the future of the right. At 27, she's already outsmarting seasoned media vets. The piece gushed, predicting she'd become a household name. On the flip side, Vox fired back with a skeptical take. Levitt scored a point, but she's still Trump's pawn. The article argued her win was a fluke, a well-prepped stunt that didn't erase her role in the Signal scandal. "Don't be fooled, she's a mouthpiece, not a mastermind." It concluded, yet even Vox couldn't deny her skill. She played the game better than Colbert expected, and that's a problem for the left. Her skill was, indeed, undeniable. On X, Levitt knockout Colbert trended alongside a flood of creative edits. One user synced Levitt's "I'm Not Your Clown" knowing to the beat of Sweet Victory from SpongeBob. A nod to underdog triumphs, and it hit 300,000 views in a day. Another paired her stare down with a slow-motion clip of a chess king toppling, captioned, "Checkmate, Stephen." The memes multiplied. Levitt as a superhero landing a punch, Colbert as a cartoon villain clutching his chest. A particularly savage one showed Colbert's old surveillance clip with the text, "When you dig up your own grave," on live TV. The internet had turned Levitt's counterpunch into a cultural moment, and she was riding the wave. Donald Trump, never one to miss a victory lap, weighed in the next morning. At 8:47 a.m., On April 7, 2025, he tweeted from I Rail de la Pomp. Karoline Leavitt crushed Stephen Colbert, best spokesperson ever. The fake news media got schooled fantastic. The post, with its signature all-caps flair, garnered 50,000 likes in an hour and sent MAGA into a frenzy. Trump's inner circle buzzed with approval. Stephen Miller, who'd privately warned Levitt against the appearance, texted her, "You proved me wrong." Well done. Kayleigh McEnany, her predecessor, called her a star in a Fox News segment that night, beaming as she replayed the clip. In the White House, Levitt's stock soared. Aides whispered that Trump had watched the interview twice, cackling at Colbert's stumble. "He loves a fighter," one insider told CNN. "She's untouchable now." Her star didn't just rise in the West Wing, it skyrocketed among conservatives nationwide. MAGA influencers like Charlie Kirk seized the moment, tweeting, "Karoline Leavitt is the future, 27 and fearless." Colbert's toast, his post paired with the knockout clip, hit 20,000 retweets. On conservative podcasts, hosts dissected her performance with glee. She didn't just survive Colbert, she owned him, raved Dan Bongino on his show, calling her the Gen Z warrior we need. Small X polls popped up, asking, who won, Levitt or Colbert? Results skewed heavily right, 85% for Levitt in one with 10,000 votes, but even neutral polls showed her edging out at 60%. Some fans got ambitious. She took down Colbert at 27. Imagine her in the Senate at 40. Tweeted I Red State Rising, a sentiment echoed across thousands of replies. Her image as the tough young spokesperson hardened into legend. Colbert, meanwhile, faced the fallout on his next show, April 7, 2025. Striding onto the Late Show stage, he flashed his trademark grin, but the crowd's cheers felt slightly less electric. "So I invited Karoline Leavitt on, and she turned me into the guest star," he quipped, raising his hands in mock surrender. The audience laughed heartily, and he leaned into the self-deprecation. "I thought I'd grill her, but she brought a flamethrower." A clip of her video drop played, and he winced theatrically. "Ouch, forgot I said that." "Well played, Karoline." The room chuckled, but online, the narrative was less forgiving. Colbert lost his edge. Tweeted ITVC's Critic Now, a media watchdog account. He underestimated her, and it showed. His fans rallied to his defense. "He'll bounce back, this was one-off night," posted a Colbert Nation for life. Attaching a montage of his past wins, "Levitt got lucky," argued another. "Stephen's still the king, but the cracks were visible." Critics pounced. Mocking her faith was a misstep. "He looked petty," wrote a Variety columnist. "Colbert thrives on punching up, not down," and Levitt flipped the script. The surveillance clip stung hardest. Unearthed from a 2015 episode, it painted him as inconsistent, a charge he dodged for years. On Reddit's R Television, a thread titled "Did Levitt Break Colbert?" ballooned to 5,000 comments, with users debating his rattled expression. "He didn't expect her to fight back like that," one upvoted post read. "She made him blink." Levitt's press briefings took on new gravity. On April 8, 2025, she faced a packed White House press room, reporters hungry for a crack in her armor. "I faced Colbert. Your questions don't scare me," she said, her voice steady, a slight smile playing on her lips. The room fell silent for a beat, then erupted with queries about Signal and Trump. She parried each with ease, her confidence unshaken. "I'm here to serve the American people, not play games for late-night laughs," she told a persistent CNN correspondent, effectively burying the Signal scandal under her newfound aura. Off-camera, a junior aide marveled. "She's different now, untouchable." Her victory had reframed her, not as the blunderer who'd leaked a chat, but as a fighter who'd faced a giant and won. For Colbert, the clash was a rare stumble, a reminder that even satire kings can falter. His next monologue leaned harder into politics, avoiding Levitt's name, but the internet wouldn't let it die. A YouTube compilation, Colbert's Worst Moments, Levitt Edition, hit 1 million views, zooming in on his faltering smirk. His team pushed back, tweeting from Ad Late Show, "She brought a fight, but Stephen's not down, stay tuned." The post drew mixed replies. "He got owned, don't spin it," clashed with "He'll recover." Always does. The scratch on his reputation lingered, not fatal but a dent in his invincible sheen. The aftermath rippled beyond the two players. Conservative media crowned Levitt a hero, with Newsmax airing a special, Karoline's Comeback, replaying her every jab. Liberal pundits grumbled, MSNBC's Rachel Maddow calling it a cheap shot that won't age well, but the public's verdict was clear. Levitt had turned a trap into a triumph, and Colbert had blinked. In America's polarized age, where X could make or break you overnight, she'd seized the mic and the narrative.